Today's episode, we're talking all things gut health. Hi there and welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Rosie Millen, a qualified nutritionist. And on behalf of Exposure Naturals, this is the Longevity Project, a video series where we share expert-guided insight into general wellness, healthcare, and longevity. So I'm going to be talking to you all about the digestive tract and factors affecting digestion. Now, digestion can be affected by several factors, including diet, certain foods, drugs, medication, things like antibiotics can also play a role, bugs, I'm talking yeasts, bacteria, parasites, all of these can really interfere with digestion. Levels of stomach acid, too low, too high, digestive enzymes, and these are really essential for breaking down fats, carbohydrates, and protein. And the main one, obviously, is a lack of fiber, which can also negatively affect digestion. So what we're going to do is break all of these down, guys, and we're going to go and have a look at each one individually. So let's take a look at the diet. So certain foods are really difficult to break down in the gut and can actually really irritate the gut lining. And the major foods in this category are wheat and dairy. So 1 in 3 people actually have a food intolerance to wheat or dairy. And if you suspect an intolerance, then testing can be really useful. And the gold approach for this is a food elimination diet. And what that basically means is you eat the food in question for 2 weeks, then you cut it out for 2 weeks, and if you see if the symptoms disappear, and when you reintroduce the food, if the symptoms occur, that's how you know that you're intolerant to something. Now let's talk a little bit about gluten, because gluten can be quite problematic in the gut. Now gluten is the protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. And it's really the component that most people struggle to deal with when it comes to digestion. Now, when I've seen patients in the past and I take away gluten from the diet, they really thrive. It's a noticeable difference. They have more energy, their skin clears up, they have better digestion, they sleep better, the brain fog goes. It can be really, really profound on their whole entire life, and not just the gut, but from an entire health perspective. So if you want to go gluten-free, guys, just to see if your digestion improves, you want to make sure that you're eating gluten-free foods. And now my favorite gluten-free foods are things like rice, lentils, chickpeas, corn, quinoa. And you don't have to actually have celiac sensitivity. You don't have to be diagnosed with celiac in order to be gluten sensitive. And this is a really interesting topic because back in 2011, a panel of celiac experts actually coined the term non-celiac gluten sensitivity. And they basically used this term to describe individuals who react to gluten who are not diagnosed with celiac. So it's a really good idea, guys. If you want to make sure that your digestion is really robust, I really recommend going gluten-free for 2 weeks and just seeing how you get on, because most people thrive when they take gluten out of the diet. And I find it's the biggest impact and the first step that you can take in order to improve digestion. So what other foods can we remove in order to improve digestion? Let's talk a little bit about dairy. Now, dairy is another food that commonly causes digestive problems such as bloating and sinus congestion. And that is because dairy is really mucus forming. Now, most people don't actually have the enzyme lactase to break down the sugar in milk, which is lactose. And we have to remember that, dairy isn't really meant for humans. It's meant for calves. And calves have got 4 stomachs and we've only got 1. And you have to remember that humans are the only mammals on the planet that consume milk from another animal beyond infancy. So it's questionable whether or not we're supposed to be drinking dairy. And again, whenever I put clients on a dairy-free diet, they really thrive. Their skin clears up, their digestion is better, they lose weight, their brain fog goes. So again, it's over to you. You need to decide what you'd like to do and what you think would work. But I find that gluten and dairy-free diets are really effective in terms of overall digestive health. So dairy can actually be swapped for many alternatives, including soya, rice, oat, nut, and coconut-based products. So let's talk a little bit about drugs and medication. Now, certain antibiotics are great because obviously they kill all the bad bacteria. But the thing with antibiotics is that they actually kill the beneficial bacteria, which are really excellent for gut health as well. So when you're taking antibiotics, it's a really good idea to take a probiotic as well to repopulate all the bacteria that you've just killed. Other medication that can actually damage the gut lining are things like non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. That's things like ibuprofen and paracetamol. Now, these anti-inflammatory drugs can actually create small holes in the stomach lining, which basically allows for stomach acid to seep through and burn tissue and cause indigestion. So you have to be really careful about taking loads of those. Let's talk a little bit about bugs. So yeast overgrowths like candida can cause digestive symptoms like bloating and gas. Now, yeasts really thrive on sugar, so reducing sugar is a really important thing to do because when unwanted bacteria can colonize in the gut, it can cause really bad digestive complaints. So you have to make sure that you're not eating too much sugar, guys, because bugs and yeast really thrive on it. Now, parasites can be really problematic and they can be picked up through travel, poor hygiene, or contact with pets. And certain parasites like Helicobacter pylori can lead to IBS because it can cause inflammation of the gut lining. So if you're struggling with digestion, guys, particularly with bloating and gas and pain, then something you might want to consider is digestive enzymes. Now, digestive enzymes are things like amylase, lipase, and protease. And sometimes a deficiency in digestive enzymes can actually impair food breakdown and it can lead to fermentation in the gut. So my recommendation is to chew your food slowly, but also you can supplement digestive enzymes and you can take one supplement with every single meal. Now, another factor that might affect digestion is fiber or a lack of it. Fiber is considered a non-starch polysaccharide and is an excellent carbohydrate source because it doesn't affect blood glucose levels. Now, there are two types of dietary fiber, soluble and insoluble. And soluble fiber digests in water and it basically forms kind of like a gel substance in the digestive tract. And that's really good because it helps to slow the rate at which food passes through the small intestine. And it also slows sugar release into the bloodstream. Good examples of fiber include things like lentils, chickpeas, oats, nuts, and barley. And you want to make sure that you're getting about 30 grams of fiber in every single day. So when choosing your sources of fiber, guys, you have to remember that all fruits and vegetables are excellent sources of insoluble fiber. And my favorites here are really things like pears, strawberries, carrots, cucumber, courgettes, and sweet potatoes. Now, the average person requires approximately 25 to 30 grams of protein per day. And you want to make sure that you're getting fiber in at every main meal and at every snack. So what else can we do to support our digestion? You want to make sure that you're taking time to eat meals and avoid eating on the run because this reduces excess air in the gut. So really slowing down when you're eating your meals is key here, guys. You know, putting your cutlery down between bites, it really helps to slow the eating and it takes around 20 minutes for the brain to actually register fullness. So one other thing you can do, guys, to support your digestive health is to take digestive enzymes because these help to break down food, improve digestion, support elimination, enhance nutrient absorption, particularly in sluggish or weak digestive systems. Now, digestive enzymes are things like lactase, lipase, amylase, and protease, and they basically help to break down fats, carbohydrates, and protein. And you can take one at every main meal that you eat. Now, I'm a huge fan of probiotics. Now, probiotics are the friendly bacteria via the bowels. And what I love about probiotics is that they also help to absorb all the nutrients from your food, and they help to form the stool. So they're particularly helpful if you are struggling with constipation or loose bowels or bloating or gas. So another supplement that you can take is psyllium husks. Now, in case you haven't heard of this before, psyllium is basically a soluble fiber that helps to form the stool and basically ease the movement through the lower digestive tract, but it does need to be taken with plenty of water. So if you're struggling with blocked bowels, if you take a psyllium husk the night before, like 1 or 2 supplements the night before, and you drink it with lots of water, in the morning, you should be able to empty your bowels really nicely. So that's a really good tip for anybody struggling with blocked bowels. Now, before you go, just a reminder that you can download a full PDF summary of each episode of the Longevity Project, and it's in the description below. If you're enjoying this content and would like to stay with us, please give this video a like, share it with somebody who might find it useful, and don't forget to subscribe.